morning, we interrupt our scheduled programming with breaking news reports coming in from around the globe.
That's right, from America to the Caribbean, from West Africa to Europe, people are awakening to the truth about who the true chosen people of the Bible are.
Our field reporters have put together some recent testimonials from various individuals. The story may challenge your perspective.
On today's episode of Truth and Not Tradition, I have a question for you guys because I'm seeing something everywhere and it's kind of crazy. It's just wild. Since I have woken up and I have realized, that Christianity is Babylon and the false names that they've given us, and I've woke up to the true names of Yahuwah and Yahusha, who came in his father's name. Ever since I've woken up to these things, I'm noticing something pretty crazy here, guys. And I found out Lord translates Baal. Oh my gosh. So the Bible says they will forget my name for the names of Baal. Then it says, obviously his name is Yahusha. He says, I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, and him you will receive. Whoo! Boy. He also says in the end, he will purge out the names of Baal from her mouth. The same her he's referring to when he says, come out of her, my people, come out of Babylon. The same her, which is a powerful religious system, Christianity, the doctrine of the Nicolaitans in Revelation 2:6 that the Messiah said he hates. In Red Right, and he hates the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, the following of one spiritual leader, and lawlessness, which is Christianity. Lawlessness, because whether they're trying hard or not, we now know that some Christians really truly want to walk the narrow path, which is why they need to hear this truth, because the laws are not done away with. This includes the true Sabbaths, the participation in paganism and these holidays, the true feast days, the eating of the swine, in which he will kill the people that eat the swine, even in the end. Oh my God, it's so crazy. But what I'm saying here is, I don't know if any of you guys have noticed it, but I am seeing everywhere now, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is Lord. I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm hearing it everywhere. And it's just kind of crazy. Also, I will add, the anti-Messiah religion is already upon us. Anyone preaching against the Torah or the commands is operating in it. That's biblical, baby. Let's turn these people up. Let's get the truth out. Praise Yah through the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom.
Berean Scholar. Waking up the people of the Most High. I got the knowledge to destroy the lies. DNA history, open eyes. Walk into the darkness and turn on the lights. Wake up, 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 wake up.
And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. So what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is, most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today, who are white, Caucasian people, came in a little bit later on. And the answer is, most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today, who are white, Caucasian people, came in a little bit later on.
And the answer is, most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today, who are white, Caucasian people, came in a little bit later on.
Stuff is getting ready to come undone, okay? And y'all have no idea what is getting ready to happen. Please hear me and study for yourself. You can think whatever you want to think about me, but you need to study for yourself. The Most High he is done, okay? He is done with what has been going on. The 400-year is up. The curse is up. Sorry, my kitty just sneezed. The 400-year curse is up, okay? God's people, the Most High has chosen, the Hebrews, the blacks in America, okay? We're about to see some power. Come on, y'all. You got to get out of this lie, okay? You got to get out of this lie. You have got to come out of this lie. This white Jesus that you are worshiping is going to take you to hell. Please wake up. Oh, in the name of Yahushua, wake up.
Wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up! Up you wake, up you wake, up you wake, up you wake!
I've seen when black people claim that the ancient Hebrews and Jews were black people and Jesus was not a white man. Many white people come across and say, okay, Jesus was not a white man, but he wasn't a black person either. Because he was from the Middle East, and therefore, according to them, he must have looked like Arabs. But this is a fallacy. Just because the modern population of a region looks like X doesn't mean that the ancient inhabitants of that region looked also like X. For example, look at Australia. Are white Australians descended from the ancient Aborigines? Or are white Mexicans descended from the ancient Mayans? Of course not. The Middle East is the most melting pot region of the world. There are black, white, brown, Indian-looking and Mongoloid-looking people in this region, all of whom claim to be native and indigenous to this region. And for example, in Arabs, there are black, white, and mixed, the so-called brown Arabs, all of whom claim to be the real Arabs. But which of them is the real Arab? The black one, the white one, or the brown one? The same goes for Iran. There are many different ethnic groups in Iran. There are Mongoloid-looking Turkmens, there are Indian-looking Baluch, there are native blacks, there are white-looking Turks, there are mixed-looking Kurds and Lurs. Which of them is the true Iranian? And unlike what the believers of the Indo-European hoax claim, the white-looking people in this region are not descended from the ancient mythical Indo-Europeans. These people are mostly Turks or descended from Turks. For example, here in Iran, up to 40% of people are Turks, and I don't know how many of them are descended from Turks, meaning are related to Turks. And the most white-looking people of Iran are mostly Turks, but there are also Russian, Georgian, and Armenian people too living in this region. And that we all know that Turks are not an indigenous people to this region. They came from southern Russia and the Central Asia in recent centuries, and they cannot be an indigenous people to this region. The ancient inhabitants of the ancient peoples of the Middle East were all different types of black people, different groups of black people. Assyrians were a black people, Persians were a black people, Elamites were a black people, and Arabs, yes, were a black people. That's why you see Assyrians have depicted themselves with curly hair, curly beard, and dreadlocks. That's why you see Persians have depicted themselves with curly hair and curly beard. And even there are many wall paintings found in Susa in which Persians have depicted themselves with black skin, have painted themselves with black skin. So therefore, Persians were black people, not a so-called Indo-European.
And
we original man and woman anyway.
That part.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
And when you do your real true research about the Hebrews and the Jews and the Israelites and all that, you find out that they look a lot like us sitting in this room right now. Mm-hmm. So maybe somebody stole some of the Jewish religion. Anyway, let me shut up.
So, a lot of people do know. I know of people, white people, black people do know that the people in America, both America, South and North America, are descendants of the true Hebrews. A lot of people do realize this in Israel. But Israel is such a country that everything, it's so political that unfortunately not a lot of people give importance to this fact. And when you approach a white man and you tell him, you know what, I can prove you that the Hebrews were people of color and you are not. So who are you? Usually he gonna talk to you about Holocaust and all stuff like this, and he basically gonna say that I know that you're right, but I don't care because my great parents have been through the Holocaust and I feel safe here. I've been struggling from anti-Semitism and I don't want to struggle, so I feel safe here and I feel good.
Yep.
This is the answer you're gonna.
Peter, wait a minute. Let's run this back. So you're telling me that many in Israel know this fact, and yet you would tell them, brother, who are you? You know you're not the real children of the Bible. And they will simply say, I know that I'm not, but I don't care. But because I have all of these perks and I have all of these benefits, that I would rather keep the benefits and keep the lie hidden. Are you telling me that, Peter?
I'm telling you that a lot of people do know. And they say, we are all mixed. They use excuses. They say we are all mixed. You can tell. Do you think in Greek, ancient Greeks live in Greece? Do you think you can find Babylonians in Iraq right now? Do you think you can find Persians in Iran right now? No, they're all mixed with the Arabs, and so are we. So what? I belong here. I like it here. I don't want another Holocaust. I feel afraid to be out of Israel because maybe another Holocaust gonna happen to me, and I belong here and I don't care about what you're saying. This is what the answer you may hear, and a lot of people do know about the truth that the Hebrews were people of color and their descendants may be found in America today.
Look, all white people are not the same tribes. All native Indians are not the same tribes. So why would all black people be the same tribe? The black people that came here as slaves, they came from Israel. They passed through North Africa. In those days, they moved through the Sahara and they came to Western Africa. They came and they enriched Africa. Songhai, Mala, and the Gold Coast, which is now Ghana, those are the countries that they came in and controlled and built. Those are the things that we should be concerned with, because they look alike. It's like Moses was called an Egyptian. And Egypt was not anything to do with what they call in Egypt today. Egypt is African. When the Israelites left Egypt, they were black. Suddenly their skin color changed and they came back white. But when they came, they were not Israelites, they were Israelis. And the capital was not Jerusalem, the capital was Tel Aviv. So that's the difference.
Waking up to injustice isn't what is going to help this group of people, because they're missing who they really are. They weren't just slaves. They're royalty. It's not just about cultural injustice left over from slavery. This is intentional persecution because these people are the chosen ones. Now, I am of the belief that the Hebrew people, all 12 tribes, has people from skin tones from very, very light to red to very, very dark. But most of them had very melanated skin. The Messiah had dark skin. The Messiah was hung on a tree. This isn't just a cultural revolution to get justice back for a community of slave descendants. This is literally a waking up of an entire people to the fact that their entire identity has been hidden from them, stolen from them. They have no idea who they are. So the entire black community in this country is super excited about this performance, and it's great. It makes a lot of great points. But at the end of the day, it doesn't help these people figure out the real truth. The natives in this country and the African Americans in this country, they're lost tribes of Israel. The real Hebrew people. And that is why that group of people have been persecuted and enslaved. Doesn't matter what the history books tell you. History's a lie.
That's why it was funny, because it just was not true. Like, I didn't come out and support no Democratic Party, bro. Like, what the fuck? Maybe John Legend did, I don't know.
Right.
I didn't.
Well, to be fair, he said both of y'all did.
But was it that, or was it talking about when he met with Trump? Because I felt like that's where a lot of.
And by the way, I was there the day when he met with Trump on the plane with him.
Get out of here.
We flew to Uganda, to Africa. I was there on the plane with him and Kim and his daughter and his dad.
Wow.
Flying to Uganda. We reading about how black people are the real Israelites and all this amazing history.
Flying to Uganda, we reading about how black people are the real Israelites and all this amazing history.
Flying to Uganda, we reading about how black people are the real Israelites and all this amazing history. I'm on the plane reading with him, giving him nutritional suggestions because my mom is a health guru. You know what I'm saying? So
the major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community. The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community.
You know, I wonder why Israel's biggest problem is the young generation of the black community when we're all the way over here. We don't have no land. We don't have no communities. We don't have no commodities. We don't have any resources. We don't have any bombs. We don't have any nuclear weapons. We don't have any missiles. You know, we don't have any military. You know, why would we be the biggest threat? Wouldn't the biggest threat be the people you're actually in war with? What do we have to do with anything y'all got going on? Could it be that the conspiracies about identity theft are true? Perhaps. Because I doubt that, you know, a lie would be a big threat to an entire country. I don't think a lie would. But what I think is the biggest threat is that the truth is being revealed and the world knows that. Time's up.
A lot of people are waking up now.
So, question. How did I find out I was an Israelite? Well, there's a lot that happened. So, to go back to the beginning, I'd say probably like 4 years ago. Now, let me go back a little further than that. I've always been into genetics. I've always been into like family tree, you know, history. Like I love that stuff. That's something that me and my dad, we have in common. Everybody else in the house can be watching something else, but then let's watch History Channel, right? So that's the kind of things that we were into, and everybody was like, no, we want to watch the game. I'm like, you know, I want to watch History Channel. You know, so me and my dad would just watch History Channel. So I was so into like finding out where I came from, because it's like, you know, I have some friends from Africa and they would say, oh, you know, I'm from Ghana and I'm from, you know, from Zimbabwe and, you know, I'm from all these different places, Botswana and, you know, Rwanda. And, you know, I was low-key kind of jealous because it's like, dang, you know, they at least know where they came from, you know, and here I am. All I can say is I'm African American. And it's like, okay, Africa, that's a continent, you know, Africa is so big, you know what I mean? And so I just was like, you know, I really want to know who I am. And so doing some research, I know that my great-great-great-grandfather, he created, I think it's called Mounds Bayou. And so I did some research and that popped up in my ancestry, Mounds Bayou. So I did some research on that, but I'm like, no, I need more. I need, you know, I was just, and it was, now that I know this was something that was put into me from the Most High to keep on seeking the truth, you know, and you know, the scripture, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be answered unto you. And I was just seeking knowledge and I was seeking who I really am, not expecting to find what I found. So fast forward 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, it was during the time of Thanksgiving. That's when we used to celebrate. We don't celebrate that stuff no more. But during the time of Thanksgiving, you know how they have the sales going on with Ancestry.com and whatnot. So I'm like, oh, you know what? This is a sale. I can afford this.
So I bought a DNA kit, and I did the little spitting in a little vial and whatever, sent it off. So I was so excited. So I'm like, dang, I really want this thing to hurry up and come back, so I can find out who I am, more deeper. I want to know my tribe. I want to know who my peoples is, And so I got my DNA results back, and one of my friends, her name is Naja. And Naja, that girl is smart. Like, she knows so much about DNA. She knows so much about lineage and whatnot. And she told me, she was like, once you get your DNA results, then you need to upload your raw DNA to this website called GEDmatch. So I was like, okay. I said, well, why do I need to do that when Ancestry is telling me that I'm, 66% such and such, and it was just like giving me the breakdown. She was like, no. She was like, the reason why you need to upload your raw DNA to GEDmatch is because Ancestry.com and other sites like that, they only give you the tip of the iceberg. They don't give you the whole entire mountain. In other words, they just give you a little bit of who you are, but they don't tell you like your origins, where you came from, like the whole nitty gritty. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And she was like, yeah. She was like, you'd be surprised, on the wealth of information that you have in your DNA and just by researching. So I was like, okay. So GEDmatch is sometimes a little complicated to understand because it's like all these haplogroup and it's like all these breakdown, and you got to upload your raw DNA to it. So I'm like, girl, you got to help me with this because I don't understand a word of this stuff. It's like reading a Japanese book. Like, I don't get it. So she walked me through it, and then I finally got my origins. That means exactly where you came from, like where it all began, your origins. So I saw, different like breakdowns. It said Ethiopian Jew, but it was like, kind of small percent, but it was Ethiopian Jew. Actually, I saw that twice, which is weird. And then different ones, but then the meat of it said Limba. And I think it was like 86% Limba, your origins. And then it had the breakdown indefinitely. I think it was like 20 categories. When they break your DNA down, 20 categories. And each one said Limba, 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 all the way down to the 20th. And it was like, and this is indefinitely where you came from. This is your Limba. So I was like, oh, okay. And so my friend Naja, she told me, she was like, okay, what you need to do now is you need to upload your raw DNA to a Facebook group where they link African Americans that have been scattered, diaspora, I think that's how you say it, diaspora, and they link you to the African community that you originated from. And you guys can be able to link up. They can share with you, your heritage and customs and food and clothes and jewelry. And so I'm like, okay, yay. You know what? I was so excited to do this. And so I uploaded it, my results and stuff. And so I uploaded, and I, kind of waited for a little bit. I think I started cleaning up or whatever. And then I went back to go check my Facebook. And then I see all these messages, and I'm like reading all the comments. And I was really shocked. Like, this was not I didn't get the response that I was expecting. I was expecting like, oh my gosh, welcome home. And oh my gosh, you look like such and such in my family in Africa. You see some of the YouTube videos, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I want that experience. I finally cracked the code, and I really wanted that experience. But what I got was totally different. I got, girl, you not African, you a Jew. Girl, you a Jew. And I'm like, no, I'm black, like you. I'm not a Jew, because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, the guys that wear black, they got the little hats on with the little curly sideburns and stuff. And so I'm like, nah, I'm black. So I'm blacker than you. And so, some people were, kind of rude, you're a Jew girl. And then others, they were, not more nice about it, but they were like, oh honey, you're a Jew, you're not African, you're a Jew. And I was like offended, because it's like, these people tripping. Like, I was thinking, shoot, it'll be the last time I post something up on this forum and stuff, and sitting up there messing with me, telling me that I'm a Jew and stuff, and I know I'm black, I'm an African American, and so I was just really thinking that. And I'm like, Africans, I was thinking, and some Africans don't even like black people anyway, that's why they acting like that, But there was one guy out of the whole entire group. His name is, I call him Brother Naja. And Brother Taya. And Brother Taya, he was like, young lady, how did you get over to the United States? And I was like, well, I was born and raised here. I'm from California. I'm a California girl. And he was like, but how'd you get there? And I was like, I was born here. And he was like, but you're Limba. I was like, yeah, that's what the results are saying. I'm Limba, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more about being a Limba and stuff. And he's like, my mom's a Limba. I'm like, finally, somebody can give me some information, so that I can be able to run with it and everything, and learn a little bit more based off of, because sometimes when you read things, like, it doesn't, oh, the Limba, they are from Zimbabwe, and they live in such and such, but they didn't give like a lot of information. And so he was like, I know where the Limba community is. And I'm like, really? I'm like, please give me some information, because these people on this forum, they keep telling me that I'm a Jew. And he was like, Limbas they are Jews. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, we are the original Hebrew. I'm all new to this stuff. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. He was like, we're from Israel originally, but we migrated from Israel to Zimbabwe. I was like, what? Like, I was tripping for like a whole week. I kid you not, after he told me that, I was tripping. And he was like, is it okay if I, give your DNA results or share your DNA results to a tribe elder? I was like, yeah, I guess so. I was kind of hesitant, but I'm like, well, he could have easily copied and pasted it, from the group. So I was like, fine, so I instant messaged him and I sent it to him. And he was like, thank you, I'll be getting back to you shortly. And a tribe elder will probably be getting back to you. And so I'm just like, this is weird. Like, what is going on? This is some weird stuff. And so I think maybe a day or two passes, if I'm not mistaken. There's this tribe elder, and his name is Edmore Hamandishi. Edmore Shinesu Hamandishi. And he contacts me, and he's like, young lady, how are you? And I'm like, I'm okay. And he was like, well, Taya told me about your DNA results. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, yeah, it says that I'm Limba. And he's like, yes, I'm one of the Limba tribe elders. And I'm like, oh, okay. Nice to meet you, sir. And, we spoke briefly. And then he was like, how'd you get to United States? And I was like, here we go again. I told him that, I was born and raised here. And he was like, can you send me a picture of yourself? I'm like, you want to send me a picture? What I got to send a picture for? And so I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna lose, whatever. So I sent him a picture of me, and I emailed it to him because he gave me his email address. So I emailed him to him. And then probably like an hour later, he was like, yep, you're ours. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yep, you are ours. He said, your facial features are Limba. You need to come and visit. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And I didn't know anything about being a Hebrew Israelite, but I remember a few months before I took the DNA test. This was during the time of like the Trayvon Martin thing, and it was really fresh, and our people's emotions were really high and hurt because of this. And I remember my husband and my kids, they went off somewhere. I think they went to go get something to eat. And I remember I was sitting at the house by myself, and I was on the top of the stairs. I'll never forget that day. And I said, you know what, God, or Yah, I said, why do they hate us so much? It seems like everywhere we go in the world, we're getting persecuted. They killing us, every single place. Like, what is going on? What is it about us that they hate so much? And I remember Yah speaking to me. He said, because you are made in my image and after my likeness. And I didn't really understand what he said by that. I really didn't understand. But then when I was told I was a Hebrew Israelite, he allowed me to remember that conversation him and I had about, you were made in my image and after my likeness. You are my people, chosen generation. And I was just blown away with the information. Like, wow, I didn't know about being a Hebrew Israelite. I'm a Jew. That back then I was like, wow, I'm a Jew. And here I'm walking around, and I've always admired Jewish people, like, wow, those are the chosen people of God. And I've even given contributions to them. They have the commercials, help a Jewish, elderly person out, help a Jewish kid out. And I was like, dang, I want to be blessed. And so let me give to this charity and everything. I was even a part of a Jewish Voice and Ministry. I think that's what it's called. And I was given to them, not knowing that I am the original. And the whole entire time I was thinking that people with the hats on with the little curly sideburns, and, I thought that they were the real people. And this wonderful book called the Bible I was reading, I did not know that it was talking about me. And I was absolutely humbled, like, oh my God. And I'm still, even to this day, I'm just like, whoa, this is absolutely amazing. But you know what? In the word of Yah, it says, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be answered unto you. And I, continued to seek, and I found what I was looking for. And Shinesu and I, we became really close. He's my godfather. I love him dearly. He gave me so much information, and he really helped me to research the truth. And so to make a long story short, I don't consider myself African American. I consider myself a Hebrew Israelite, because that is who I am. That is who I am. That it's in my DNA. And when I first found out about this, when you find out something so fantastic, so magnificent, you want to tell the whole world. And I was just like, oh my God, I found this out. And I told my family first, and someone was like, she crazy, and it's like the look that they get like, yeah, that look, I mean, like, you crazy, and they were just like, oh my God. And I'm like telling them this stuff, and I'm just like every time I talk about it, like sometimes I felt like I was talking about it too much, but then I would bring it up so, other people can like get engaged and be as excited as I was. And they just didn't understand. They were just like, and I think a lot of them was like, this girl is, she a part of a cult or something like that. I'm like, nah, I ain't part of no cult. I ain't part of no camp or nothing like that. This is our DNA, yo. And then I would literally carry around my DNA results, to show my family. And they were just like, oh yeah, okay. This is cool. But you could tell that they were not interested. And I'm like, don't y'all understand the significance of this? Like, and I come from, a line of, preachers and people that's really in the church. My dad is actually an apostolic preacher. My grandfather was, my great-grandfather was, and so it's a whole lineage. And my great-grandmother was a prophetess. And so I was just like excited, like, you know what, you guys are, in the pulpit, and you guys are speaking of the children of Israel. We Israelites, and they still didn't get it. But I am very privileged, though, to have both of my parents. They know. They know. My mom, she knows she's an Israelite. My dad, he knows he's an Israelite. And, they really support. They really support it. And not only do they support me, they follow it. So I'm like really privileged. I'm like, if all my other family don't, at least my parents get it.
What do you think about this topic?
Please leave your comment in the comment section below. Please be nice. Please click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to get notification for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching this video on the Berean Scholars channel.